with one of our favorites, a guy who's been covering the Vikings for quite a while now, the former Golden Domer himself, the former inside backer Pete Bursich, who's a part of the Vikings broadcast team, kind enough to give us some of his time this morning to talk a little Niners Vikings. Good morning, Pete. Thanks for the time.
No, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's it's another week. The Mondays, man, they're a long week. You know what I mean? It just never gets here, and then you finally, they're weird.
Let's talk a little bit about Danielle Hunter. I was driving down to the facility yesterday, and I'm listening to my buddy Tim Ryan, T-Rock, on the radio, and he's like, he's like, man, this cat, Danielle Hunter, he's shredded like a salad. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
But, man, Danielle Hunter is in phenomenal shape, and he's having a great year. 8 sacks, leading the league. I mean, and they're blitzing at a high rate, and one of the benefits of the blitzes is that they're getting him on a little bit more one-on-ones than he would normally be in, without those blitzes, and he's just deadly. I mean, he's playing at the highest level in the league. Are they going to keep him? Is he going to is it teetering? What do you think? I mean, because there's an awful lot of talk about him being on the move.
I know, and that's what it is. It's talk, right? That's what people do. They sit down, look at the roster, and they go, all right, well, this guy's most likely to go or to stay. I mean, you'd have to ask Kwesi that question. What kind of questions is he getting? And the thing I think with Danielle, a couple of things. Physically, this was the first offseason that he's had in a long time where he wasn't rehabbing something. So he spent this offseason just developing, which I think has helped him physically. I don't think he embraced the 3-4 system that we had last year with Donatell.
Okay.
I just don't think that was his thing, because it was there's a high level of physicality needed to play that position in that defense. And I just don't think he embraced it. I think he wanted to be an end, or that, and not whether his opinion's right or wrong. It's just a matter, I think he wanted to get after the quarterback and play defensive end. And so with this new Flores system, it's a 3-4, but it's different. And they're using him the right way, and they're able to create mismatches just through alignment, and between he and DJ Wanham, and then Davenport, and the creative ways that you can use him. He's benefited quite a bit. I mean, the interception that Hicks had against the Bears, that was because they had a running back blocking Danielle Hunter, right? You got them to make a mistake, and so Danielle's getting a lot of opportunities because of the system and because of his physical nature. Is he just lining up as a wide 9 defensive end and just beating tackles every single week? No, that's not what we do. See what I mean? It's just a different different scheme, different setup, and he's playing at a very, very high level, and we love Danielle and love to have him around as long as we can. We hope he stays healthy for his sake, because he's struggled, throughout his career. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm interested to see what a former backer feels about the Niner backers, Warner and Greenlaw. I know you watch mostly Vikings, but I mean, what do you think of the tandem?
Well,
they're playing at a high level right now.
Well, I always do a film study of the upcoming opponent, and you watch. People always want to know what makes San Francisco defense, what makes them so good. Well, yeah, it has a lot to do with the players, but it's not just the players. There was an outside run by Cleveland. The running back kind of cut it back, and then you pause the film, and this is the end zone camera. There are 10 guys in the picture, right? 10 guys. There was one play for Cleveland Furl, who chased down a run complete. It was a toss, so he didn't have to worry about the boot, but he ran about 25 yards to limit a run to 2 or 3 yards.
They got a great culture going right now.
Obviously Nick Bosa. The other one was the Oren Burks. Oren Burks, when your corner fell down, and
Yes.
he was the guy that ran six. And
Saved the touchdown.
well, I know
One
when
moment.
we traced his feet, he ran almost 60. He ran almost 70 yards to chase that down. 70 yards. Show me anywhere else where you're going to see that. Show me anywhere else, right? You're just not going to see it. You guys are so physical and you tackle so well. All these little short passes that teams get 5-6 yards on, you give up 2, you give up 3 because everybody's running the football. Add that up over time, and that's the difference between a 3rd and 4 and a 3rd and 7. And when you're 3rd and 7, you can do a hell of a lot more as a defensive coordinator than you can when a team, when you're 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. So it's that mentality that is so. You guys play so hard. There was Hargrave chasing down a screen, and
Saw
he's
that.
smart, right?
He
gets up.
He read it a while.
Right.
He only took 2 steps up the field. As soon as he read screen action, he reversed field and went downfield to make a tackle.
Yeah, there's a couple things when you're a defensive lineman. If I'm going upfield and all of a sudden I'm free, it's like you think about it.
Why?
I'm either so good that I got free, or at the NFL level, whenever you're running free, you got to put up a red flag because you're like, okay, who's got me? But the other thing too was the quarterback never sets. On a screen, the quarterback just keeps slowly drifting backwards, right? He doesn't set his feet. It's not 1, 2, 3, plant and look. He's just, drifting back, and he saw that right away. So he stopped, turned, found the running back, and chased him down from behind. Now, it was still it was a decent gain, but you do that play after play after play after play, and that limits. That's why you guys are what number 3 in defense? I think overall by yardage, number 3 overall.
Yeah, I think 3 overall.
Yeah,
a little bit further down on points.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like that's what makes you guys so damn good. And we're not even talking about Bosa yet, right? You're not even talking about. I'm not talking about. The rest of the talent on this team. You guys. I love watching you guys play because these guys, they love the game. They love flying around, and that's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, yeah, okay, you're going to get this group in on national TV on a Monday night. Are you kidding me? Right?
Awful loss.
Awful loss. No, yeah, great. Thanks, Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, points are going to be for us at a premium. We put up 12 points against the Bears defense that has been struggling. I mean, obviously, we're trying to find an identity in offense without JJ. Not having JJ changes things. We didn't see anywhere near the 2. We see 2 high safety all the time because of JJ. Well, teams aren't worried about it, so we're not going to see it. Makes it even harder to run the football. You're getting looks that you're not used to getting. You're getting line stunts because your quarterback's immobile. He doesn't, he's a pocket guy. It makes it tough. None of it looks good for us.
The Vikings are 2-4, and Jefferson's on the IR with a hamstring injury. And I don't know, Pete, you tell me. I mean, it seems like we're seeing him show frustration on the sideline. He's a young guy. He's 24. He's a game breaker. He's probably one or two as far as the best receivers in all of football. There are people suggesting that he's not happy there. What's going on there?
I don't know.
Is there anything to that?
No, I mean, I don't. Well, what's he going to be unhappy about? I mean, unless it's contracts or discussions that none of us know about, right? And that's the business side of football. And the business side of football, that's why you have an agent that stays over there. He's unhappy, I think, because he's unhappy because he's not playing. He wants to be out there, right? The Bears game was the first game that we've had without Justin Jefferson since we drafted him, right? So you got to go back to 2019 when Justin Jefferson wasn't on the field for the Vikings. And that was one of the, when we talked about JJ and his numbers and everything, I said the most underrated part of his game is the fact that he's always out there. How many great, good to great football players have you seen that just aren't on the field every week? And it's frustrating as hell, right?
Yeah.
Because they're there for a few weeks and then they're gone. and they're back and they do great, and then they're gone, and they can't. You don't learn. You don't get to take it to the next level, especially I'm especially with cornerbacks, because cornerbacks, they have you have to learn, right? You have to in wide receivers as well. It's an art form. It's not just height, weight, and speed, or else those guys would all be the best in the league. There's a lot more than that. We saw it last year with JJ when Detroit started rolling up and jamming him at the line and having a safety over the top. This is the third game of the year. He had 3 catches for, I think it was 29 or 39 yards. And it's a copycat league, so you're going to see it next week and the week after that. So by the end of the season, they had figured out a way to beat that. He took it to the next level. He figured it out. And so now we're going through that with Jordan Addison, where he's got to learn how to get off a jam and off a press. And, so being on the field week after week after week after week is going to make you a better player. So for Jefferson, who's paid the price, he's put all that work in to not be on the field. Yeah, it's going to be frustrated. I don't think it has anything to do. Personally, I don't think it has anything to do with contracts or anything like that. The guy just wants to play. The kid just wants to be out there, right? And when you're not, that's extremely frustrating. And I think some of it shows.
Addison is a tremendous young player as well, and 49ers are going to have their hands full with him. Bosa was asked, Pete, about Cousins, and he's like, hey, man, he plays the position to a T. He goes through his reads. He's on time with the
Yep.
ball. He's accurate. He's smart. So obviously a good combination. He's tied with Tua right now for the most touchdown passes in the league. With 14, he's completed 67% of his passes, almost 1,700 yards, 4 picks. What do you think? I mean, he's not going to run. He's only run the ball 10 times for 17 yards, but the guy is outstanding in the pocket, and he can go through his progressions as well as anybody. How's Cousins looking so far in your mind this year?
We're not as explosive as we were in the passing game a year ago. I think the other difference is that we depend on the pass now. You mentioned Cousins in the passing touchdowns. Did you look at our rushing touchdowns and the number of those that we have? We've become yeah. Exactly.
I know. I've looked at the fumbles.
Right. Well, I'm just we've had a ton of them, but we're not. Last year with Dalvin Cook, we had we had a guy that could break a big run, and the running game had to be you were worried about it. I don't know. We're just a lot more one-sided. A few of the games
why
early.
Is that? Why are they struggling to run? Because, 2.1 last week against the Bears. And,
right.
and I like all three of these backs. I like Madison. I like Akers. I like Ty Chandler. I liked him at North Carolina. Those are 3 good backs. So is it they're just not getting it done up front?
Well, I think when you look at the Bears, then against the Bears game, I think you got to go back to they saw a lot of things that they didn't know. They didn't know what they were going to see because they didn't have JJ, right? You don't have Justin Jefferson, so you don't know. You don't have any film. You just don't know what you're gonna, what you're gonna see. The Bears did a lot of stunts and a lot of moving of the defensive linemen, and I think that gave us some problems. You had a couple. You had 3 plays by one guy, that were bad. 3 plays by another guy, and you had 3 guys that had 3 bad plays each, I think. And so there you go. There's 9 plays right there. So it's always a guy here, it's a guy there. But it's been that part of it's been frustrating to see how that running game just some of it I think is just design. That's where these things get so murky and muddy, is there's a problem. And if it's easy to see the problem, that's a good thing, because then it's easy to fix it because you know exactly what the problem is. If it was, let's just say it was our center, for example. I mean, and obviously Bradbury. Well, it's another thing. Bradbury's been injured, but if it was just your center that was terrible, that's an easy fix. You replace the center. Well, it covers a myriad of I think different phases, different parts, with with the running game. It's been an enigma, right? It's been an issue, and we don't have a lot of balance. So you go back to what, like we were saying with Cousins, we were throwing the ball, 75% of the time, right? something like that. You know, in a couple of these games, we were just that's all we did was throw the football, and you know, it's hard to survive. It's hard to survive in this league offensively when you're one dimensional, and
Uh,
so you
no
know
question.
we got to find some balance somehow, some way.
And they're I mean, I'm looking at these margins. The margins for the Vikings, they could have won all these games. They lost to Tampa by 3.
Yeah,
They lost to Philly by 5. They lost to the Chargers by 4. They lost to the Chiefs, but only by 7.
yeah. This
Um,
is it's a complete opposite of last year
yeah,
when we were when we were winning all these one score games. Now it's funny, you mentioned these one score losses.
right.
How many times have we turned the ball over?
Yeah, I
13.
mean, yeah, the that and that's an area where the Niners have been really good this year is the
We've
turnover
had
margin.
we've had
I mean, that's
seven
the NFL right
different
there.
yeah, we've had 7 different guys fumble the football.
Wow.
6 guys have lost it. We've had
And
six
you
different
know
guys
as a
on offense
backer and you
give
know as
up
a
a fumble.
linebacker, if you fumble and you've got 9 fumbles on the resume, guess
Right.
what? Everybody's going for the ball,
Right.
right? I
You
mean,
guys you
every
guys
game.
have you guys have 10 interceptions on defense and your quarterback is throwing 1. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
We are the absolute we've been the exact opposite of that. The field goal we scored on the first drive of the game against Chicago, those were the first points that we have scored on an opening drive all season.
It's hard
Right?
to play that way.
Right. Right. You're playing the Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, first passes to your tight end. He goes for 25 yards and then fumbles the football. Right? You go to Philadelphia, JJ's going to get into the end zone to take a lead, going in, right before halftime. We'd have been up by my God, I think it was 7 or 8 or whatever, and he fumbles the ball and it just skips over the pylon and it's a touchback for Philadelphia. It's been the you go to Carolina, we end up winning Carolina, but you get down to the 4-yard line and you throw a pick six. I think at the time Cousins' passer rating inside the 5-yard line was in the 40s. 40s, right? It's situationally, we just obviously continued to shoot ourselves in the foot, and even against the Bears, right? Even against the Bears, we defensively we were able to turn that around, but we still linebacker blitzes, running back goes to pick him up, he hits the arm of the quarterback, they intercept it, right? And that had we not turned the ball back over, that could have been the game right there because we turned it over, on their side of the field, on our own side of the field, excuse me. So, yeah, it's. I hope you can hear the frustration because it's been,
it's
it's been,
it,
it's
it, it, it's been that
it's
kind of
been
year so far for
frustrating.
you guys.
It
What
is.
give me your perspective on Brock Purdy. Everybody, here it's that there's 2 camps. There's the people that really believe that he's what you're seeing with Brock is sustainable and he's their quarterback of the future. And then
Yeah,
there's a whole group of people that are still, despite the incredible record, maybe based on his draft position, maybe based on his physique, maybe based on his
yeah.
lack of big
Height,
time arm strength.
height,
They're
weight, and
just
speed, right?
yeah, they're just convinced that he can't do it and that he's going to fall on his
Yeah,
face and the clock's going to strike midnight and he's going to
right.
revert back to being is he there? What do you see with Purdy?
I see a guy who um, is he's a great decision maker. All right, he's able to make decisions quickly and make the throws, putting the ball where it needs to be. He has a very, very quick release. Okay. He's the anti Justin Fields. I tell you, Justin Fields has that nice long, takes him a while, but you know, Purdy is just 1, 2, 3, bang, that ball's out. He knows where it's going. He's going to get rid of it. Bang, bang, bang. Very good very good in the middle of the field. That's where, you guys like to attack. And then unlike Garoppolo, he'll actually throw a ball outside the numbers, right? He'll hit a guy outside. Very accurate, against Cleveland. I think against Cleveland was the first time I saw him not be super accurate. Now, did that have to do with being outside, being in the rain? I don't know, maybe, but he had, there were 1 or 2 I think that he wished he had back. But he's a great decision maker. if things aren't there, he pulls that ball down and scrambles, and he can move the chains on you with that. So I think with the system and with what you guys have there, he's fantastic. I mean, what are you paying? What is he costing the franchise? Look at
Eight
how
hundred,
many.
eight hundred
Yeah,
and forty thousand dollars
right.
Hardly
Look
anything.
at look at how these quarterback heavy teams are doing as far as cap goes. How are they doing? You know, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, the thing is with him, why would you want or entertain something else or somebody else? He's perfect for what you guys are doing. He's absolutely perfect for the system that you guys have in place, for the coaching staff, what they want to do, and then to have a defense like you have. You have a defense like you have. Just don't throw the ball away, right? It's like don't. That's just don't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? On offense, figure it out. You'll get there. You'll score the. He's absolutely perfect. I think for the system that you guys have, and I don't know, maybe you don't like him because he doesn't, he's not slinging it around like Warren Moon used to, or Randall Cunningham, or one of those guys. But you got to, the bottom line is you want to win football games, and you guys are doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm holding the phone and it's moving around here a little
Oh,
bit,
that's
but
all right. I'll
um,
tell you, it's funny. People are asking for the takeaway off of his one loss last week against the Browns. And I watched the all 22 and went back through it. And to me, what stood out was the Browns. I mean, I thought the Browns defense was absolutely
yeah,
fantastic. And it's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who nobody really talks about, but he was great at Notre Dame. Now I'm asking a Notre Dame linebacker about a Notre Dame linebacker,
yeah,
but Owusu-Koramoah is super special as an athlete. He
hmm,
gets these crazy deep drops. You can't throw it over the top of his head, even though he's not the biggest guy. If he blitzes, he gets home. If
yeah,
he gets you out in space, you're going to the ground. He's just an awesome defensive player. And then you have Miles
yep,
Garrett up front and Denzel Ward and all these good DBs behind and
hmm.
Koromoa in the middle. I just think that Browns defense is spectacular.
It's a lot. What that game was. It's what that game was old school. That was an old school physical. We're gonna, both teams were just like, we're running the ball. It's what we do, right? We're just gonna. It was the hardest hitting. It's not surprising that you guys came out, pretty banged up, because that was a physical damn football game,
Yeah.
right? That was not a finesse game. That was not spread them out and chuck it here. No, both teams lined up and said, "This is what we do. This is what we're going to do. You just need to stop us." And it was a beatdown, man. It was a street fight. It was amazing because it wasn't like you said, it wasn't fancy. It was just running the ball. Yeah, you got an 8-man box. So what? We're still going to hand this ball off, and your safety's going to have to tackle my running back. And it was on both sides of the ball. And it came down to what? Right? It came down to just a couple mistakes. Actually, you guys should have won. You guys absolutely should have won that game had you made a 41-yard field goal, right?
Yeah. Rookie
So
kicker missed a
yeah,
41 yard right
but
at the end.
but I'm saying that's football, man. That's on the road. You're in Cleveland in the rain outside. I mean, the whole thing. It's like, yeah, that was a hell of a football game, man. As far as that goes, just with the physicality of your offensive line, um, Cleveland's offensive line, the running game. Two teams that really care about the running game. You know what I mean? Early in that game, McCaffrey. You watch McCaffrey, and the man sets up blocks like I haven't seen in a long time. His vision is second to none. You know what I mean? And to
Yeah.
watch him go about doing his thing and doing what he does, and yeah, that was a damn good football game.
Pete, we'll let you go. Great stuff. Give me a wild card Monday night on your side of the ball, on your the Viking side of the matchup, offense or defense. Is there somebody that you're looking for as a wild card Monday night in the game?
Um, I just think that I've been waiting on TJ Hawkinson, and it's been frustrating just with some of the struggles that he's had this year. You pay him all that money, and but with the amount of cover two and some of those things that you guys do, I would like to think that TJ would be targeted quite a bit. And I'm not talking about like deep down the field. I'm talking about just in the middle of the field. I'd love to see him. I think we're going to need him. We're absolutely going to need him, and points are going to be at a premium. And um, you know, I just don't see 75-yard drives for touchdowns happening too often with our offensive situation. Defensively, we just got to stay aggressive and do what we do and keep the ball in front of us. Luckily for the Vikings, you guys are missing some playmakers. And probably will be missing some playmakers on offense, and it's gonna. The best chance the Vikings have is it's a low scoring game, and I'm talking 12-14. Right? I
Yeah.
just think that's our best chance at winning, and so I don't know. We'll see. This is one of those games where I think the Vikings are we're a better team than our record, I think, shows. We're not deficient in certain areas or in a lot of areas, but you guys are just such a solid team. You know, A to Z. It's gonna be a tough one.
Hey man, we've been fans of your career for a long time. It's what a
Well, thank you.
nice career you've had, huh? I mean, you Illinois kid goes to winds up at Notre Dame, and then gets drafted by the Vikings. Stays right there in the Midwest. Gets the
Where
chance
the
to
weather's where the
broadcast.
weather's terrible. I just
Yeah,
can't.
where
I can't get. I can't get out of the Midwest. I mean, you know what? I grew up like in the Joliet area, and I've met Gene Simmons. I've flown with the Blue Angels. I mean, what more could a guy
nice.
want?
Yeah. And
I
now you
made it.
cover. I mean, you're seriously, and you're enjoying covering football. You enjoy. You're
Yeah, I
doing
love it.
the high school thing, the
Yeah,
broadcast thing. Your schedule's probably better than if you were, some linebacker coach sweating it out in the
a little
NFL,
bit.
right?
My bank account would be a little bit better if I was coaching, but
Yeah.
it's yeah. I love the game. I'm still curious about the game to this day, and I love teaching it. And I think kids need football more now than ever. Um, and I enjoy it. Just every Sunday being able to sit in a booth. I get paid to watch football. Are you kidding me? I get paid to watch NFL football. There's nothing better.
Hey man, we love your breakdowns. Keep it rolling, and
Thank you.
thanks for jumping on the Krug Show and chopping it up with us today. We really appreciate you.
No problem, man. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pete.
Take care.